How great would it be to get up close and personal with the beauty industry heroes we love and admire, and to ask them, how did you learn to do what you do? I'm Chris Baran, a hairstylist and educator for 40 plus years, and I'm inviting all our heroes to chat and share the secrets of their success. Today's guest is really special because this particular lady rose from homelessness to one of the country's most celebrated and requested stylists in not only hair, but in trichology. She's a master stylist for Mizani's International Development Team. She's a certified trichologist of the International Association of Trichologists. She co-founded the Stuart Edmonds Hair Loss and Restoration. She's a co-owner, not the co-owner, but the owner of Designs by Evie. She is a NAHA finalist in haircutting. Behind the other awards are Behind the Chair One Shot Platinum finalist, ABS Global Image Award nominee. She has been a finalist for the L'Oreal Color and Style Trophy for styling and cutting. And so let's get into this week's head case, Ms. Evie Johnson. Well, Evie, it is a pleasure and an honor to have you here on Headcases. I always say that we've got to be Headcases to do what we do, but first of all, it's good to see you again. We don't get to see each other regularly enough, but welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I always say thank you for being had. So it's good to have you on board. Listen, I know we've spent a lot of time backstage talking and at shows, et cetera, and it's just a pleasure to have you on here. But, even at the beginning, I understand that you just had a birthday. Is that correct?
Oh, my goodness. I had the best birthday ever.
Really?
I did.
Tell me, so what happened that made it so special?
Well, I like to be alone, like by myself. So I went away to West Palm Beach.
Oh, nice.
Laid out, meditated, get my mind together, did some shopping, came home, and then spent time with my family, my friends. They listened. They took me to all the plant-based restaurants, and they bought me nice things. And surprisingly enough, my daughter, she took me pole dancing, which wasn't my favorite, but it was cool.
Well, now hold on one second. So you said she took you pole dancing. Was that to watch, or was that an exercise program where everybody tries the pole? And
everyone tries the pole.
Oh, wonderful.
I was dizzy.
And are you going to be launching a new career now?
No, that's definitely not my thing. You can have it. I don't even want to watch it.
No, I can't fathom, first of all, I don't think they've got a pole big enough that would support me. But anyway, it's June 28th, right?
Yeah, June 28th. And then the next day I celebrated my 25th wedding anniversary. So it was good.
Oh, congratulations. So yeah, June 28th and June 29th.
25 years.
Wow. Yeah. It's like they said, you're going to go straight to heaven because, we've been in hell long enough, right? Listen, the reason why I'm bringing that up, because I was doing a little research on you, and I went, June 28th, that's fantastic. And here's the interesting part. Most of my friends, all of my besties have all been born on June 28 or June 29.
Really?
Yeah. My wife is born on June 28th. My best friend from when I was in grade school, Cliff, was June 28th. Rita's 28th. Cliff was 28th. And when he moved away, my next buddy, Hugh Lees, he was born on June 28th. And then after that, one of my buddies who's not with us anymore, he was out of Florida, and he was born on June 29. And here you are, June 28. So now we are officially besties.
We have to be
because, and I'm a Cappy, so we mix together real well.
Yeah, we was destined to be friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, that's why I find it so interesting. My eyes opened up when I saw on there that people are wishing you a happy birthday. And I went in a little deeper and saw it was June 28th. So happy birthday.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's been a real pleasure. And I can remember, I'm going back, I think the first time that I really got to meet you and know you, I knew of you, as we often do in our industries. There was that PPD event that happened. The Christine Schuster organized it, and I know that she came up to myself and Nick French and Ruth Roach and Chris Sorby, who couldn't be there at the time. And we said that we wanted to pass on and get all of us to collaborate and threw out all the ideas on how we do some of the avant-garde stuff we did. And I remember you being there, and specifically what I remembered so clearly is when we were showing, I think it was Nick was showing how to make wigs. And we were showing how to do the whirl on the top, and he was putting a little piece of glue on the thing and then dragging a piece of hair on it. And then we were going around after, and then everybody was gathered around you, and I was going, what the hell's going on over there? And then you were showing the people, and I still teach it to this day. I just thought it was the most brilliant thing I'd ever seen, where you took this weft and wound it all up and then cut off the weft, put some glue on the end and stuck it down and then pushed the pieces around to make it look like a natural whirl. And I went, this girl is good. So that's when I went, this girl, I've got to watch this girl because she's something. And
Thank you.
So that was, do you remember that? You remember that gig?
Yeah, New York. Yeah, it was in New York.
That was fun.
I think it was at off of Fifth Avenue, I believe, and it was definitely changing for me as well.
Yeah, that was a fun gig. Now I want to kind of shoot back from this to another event, and I can't remember the name of the hotel, but I know that we were all there. It was across from Madison Square Gardens at the hotel, and we were there was a training that was going on there. And do you remember the two monks?
Yes,
the two monks.
How can I forget them?
And the reason why I'm going there is that it blew me away because so the people that are watching and are listening know what was going on at that portion of the class. They were teaching people how to use their own story. And we called them the two monks. They actually were monks, and they've sort of went off on their own and started a business on how to deal with corporate and how to deal with getting your message across. And they were talking about your story, and everybody was raising their hand and telling their story, and then you stood up and told your story. And I can't remember if I was sitting beside you or if I was sitting a little ways away from you.
You were away from me.
Yeah, and I don't think that there was a dry eye in the house.
It wasn't.
When you told your story.
It wasn't. Actually, what happened was, the name of that training was Leaders Are Authentic. So that was the name of that training, and
you have a much better memory
for me.
Yeah,
and that's when life changed for me. But what happened was, and I'm not sure we even had this conversation ever. So it's crazy that she brought this up, but I'm sitting there and I'm listening to them tell their story, and it was like, who wants to share? And literally, I didn't raise my hand. It was like my hand floated up. So here comes Chris Baran with the microphone, and I was saying to myself, no. I wanted my hand to go down because I did not want to share. And I always want to share, but I just felt like the way I was feeling, this is not going to go the way that I envisioned. So then you had the microphone, and you were like, he was like, you're so calm and very welcoming. And so at the time when I felt your energy being very welcoming, that's when everything started to flow, and the river flowed from me, from you, to everybody in the room. So yes, I remember that moment.
Yeah. Do you want to share it?
Oh yeah, sure. I can actually speak about it now. And so, um, just so you know, it has always been very, very, very hard for me to speak about, that moment because I was ashamed of it. And then I didn't want anyone to feel sorry for me or feel like they were giving me a ride. I wanted people to just know Evie for her being her spirit, for me just being who I am. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. So I always shut that part of my life down. So that's why I never told my age. And everybody knew I had 4 kids and I was married with kids, but they didn't know how old I was when I first mothered my first child. And so there was the moment where you know, um, shared with everyone in the world that I got pregnant with my son at 13 and had him at 13. And I believe that year was the year he was graduating from college, which I was super proud of. The first graduate in my family ever, history,
Awesome.
And I was just ashamed of knowing that, okay, I had this child at such a very young age, and I was homeless for a long time. My family and just that grind, just going to shelter, living in teen homes with my son. I didn't want that to define who I was. I didn't want anyone to know. I just wanted you to know this Evie. And what happened was I've done a lot of work on myself since that moment. Meaning I had shut that life off. And so what I did was I completely shut off 14 into 20.
Wow.
I shut it off. And what I did was I moved from Washington, D.C. in the city, moved to the suburbs and created this whole other life. This businesswoman that was very successful, drive nice cars, have a salon, very popular, that type of thing. But I forgot about the 13-year-old Evie who had this amazing young man. And so I just finally realized what I did about 4 years ago. You know, yeah, it's crazy how it works. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that was just a moment I wasn't so proud of. But I must say, that moment there taught me to be more authentic as a facilitator. And so I
Yeah.
went from just being in motion to going like this. And so I was able
Yeah.
to facilitate, to see things, read the room better, just because it opened me up different. It was an out of body
Yeah.
experience. It really was.
And I just want to stop for a moment. And, like I keep hearing you say the words that either that of shame or wanted to block that out. But I just want to stop for a moment and just celebrate that for you. I mean, the fact of what where you were, and I'm sure at that moment in life, so many of us, we see people around us, and there's people, we see it on the streets, we see homelessness around, and we think it's to other people. We don't think it's to us or our friends, and I can remember walking down the street with, my good friend and yours, Chris Moody, and we were walking down the street, and we saw this homeless person on the street, and, it just said, there, but I just said, there, but for the grace of God, go you and I. And Mr. Moody said, yeah, he says, only difference between us and them right now is one little or big mistake. And, and I've always believed that mistakes are the way, and we are who we are because of the mistakes we made in our life. So, and I'm certainly not implying that your son was a mistake. That was by no means a mistake. It was something to celebrate because of who he is and who he has. So I just want to stop for a second and just celebrate, what you went through and how you had a choice. It's just a choice, and you made a choice. I just want to stop and celebrate that just for a second, just because I think it's just so amazing, and I'm just personally so damn proud of you for
Thank you.
the choices that you made, and you could have went wherever, but you said no, that's not me. I will not let that define me, and you moved on. So
So one of my favorite quotes is failure is not an option, because it's not.
yeah,
Right?
no,
Because when I did have him, oh my goodness, because I was not the great student. I always hated school. I hated school. I hated
me
it.
too.
So when I was pregnant with him, I enrolled myself in beauty school because I always knew I wanted to do hair and I wanted to be this fabulous actress that everybody knew. I knew I wanted to be an actress and I knew I wanted to be a hairstylist. So I was like, you want to be both? I couldn't figure it out, but I knew I was going to be a hairstylist first. Then the acting thing came later. So age 7, hairstylist. So 13, I'm pregnant, enrolled in hair school. And I was like, okay, if I stay on this path, I'll be done by age 15. Got to wait to get my license. Got to be 18 to go to the board, but I'll have my hours. And so that's what I did. I went to beauty school at 13. And I was like, I'm pregnant with this young man. At the time, I didn't know he was a boy. I'm pregnant with this child. I got to do better in school. So these D's and F's that you're getting, you got to turn it around. And so I dropped out of school, enrolled myself in homeschool. So I homeschooled myself for years. And turn my work in. I would do things to get ahead. I skipped grade because I started school late. So I went from the 10th to the 12th. So those F's and D's became straight A's. So I graduated top of my class. And I never wanted to be a victim like welfare or anything like that. Although we had homelessness, but I never accepted public assistance. Never wanted that. Never wanted that to be my story. So I didn't do it. So I received no services from the city. Didn't want to do it. So I worked hard. I braided hair. I did hair, did extensions, whatever I needed to do to make sure that me and my son had. And at the time, his dad was on insurance doing his thing, so I didn't have any support from him. So I was like, okay, I got to do this. But my dad, who's my hero, he was incarcerated at the time. So when I met with him, he was like, and I was so embarrassed when I went to go see him because I'm pregnant. And my mom takes me to the jail to see him, and he's like, and your dad, there's 12 of us, and we all got the same mother and father. But the dad with the girls is different.
Yep.
So he tells me to pick the phone up, and I pick the phone up, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Daddy, I made a mistake. And no, this is not a mistake. Jehovah makes no mistakes. He said, you're going to do what you got to do. I'm going to help you, and we're going to make sure that you okay, you and my grandchild. And so from that point on, I knew I had to do right. And so he came home, and then he helped me. I would go to night school. He would go to school. So we helped each other to get through. And so what he did was he said, make me a promise. I said, okay. He said, don't have any more kids until you're married. And I promise you I would never pick up a drug a day in my life. So we made that promise. Wow. He's been drug-free 33 years. And I didn't have any kids until I got married and started my family. And so he kept his promise, I kept mine. But I wouldn't have been able to do any of that without the help of my family. We're very closely knit. And whatever I needed to do to get through school, I did it. So like I said, I graduated with a 4.0 GPA. And then I enrolled myself in Howard University for theater for acting, and I paid for my college tuition, whatever I needed to do. And then one day I was there, I was like, I didn't feel it in my soul. I was like, I kept thinking about doing everybody's hair while I was in class, and I was like, this is not my path. And so I disenrolled myself, and it's been smooth sailing since then.
Yeah. It's funny. I always have this feeling that the universe gives you what you need at the time you need it. And it sounded to me like that was what you needed and that's what your dad needed. So, for whatever reason, that was, I think for your dad, that was the cure. And that was amazing story. And so you've now you're to the point now. You're in hair, right? And you've put yourself through. You've done it all yourself. So tell us, what was this? What would got you into? You went from there. Now there's a leap. I don't know if there's a country that you haven't been to in teaching, but what give us that time frame of, like, for people that are listening and watching right now, and they're saying, I want to be able to be like Evie. That give us that spread before you started doing platform work, before you started doing teaching, etc. Give us that. What was that spread like in before that?
So, crazy enough, I'm in beauty school, and I was an inner city kid in DC. So, you were raised a little faster. And so I heard about
you had to grow up real
New York
quick,
Hair
right?
Show. Yeah, I heard about the New York Hair Show and IBS. So I said, I'm going to go there. So I got me a bus ticket, and I went to New York by myself to the hair show at 13.
Wow.
And
This is when you were in school. When you're in school.
I was in school. I was in beauty school, and the school was going. I was like, I'm going to get my bus ticket, and I'm going to go up there. So I went. And I seen Rec in there. And I seen everybody in tattoos and black clothing. And when I looked at the stage, I said, I want to do that. I'm going to do that. And so I was inspired when I seen Rec. And I'm not sure if anybody ever know. I've not even told that story. And
at 13.
I've seen everyone there. And I seen other product brands. I can't pick Paul Mitchell. There was a few other, but everybody was dressed up and they looked so good, prestigious. And I was like, I just see myself there. I see myself on stage. And yeah, remember, I want to be an actress anyway. Hello. So the stage was right there in front of me. So it was just, that was I seen my life flash right in front of me. And I knew that was going to be me. So the path it took was, I was working in a salon. I had just had my youngest son, who was about to be 23. So 24 years ago, I was approached. I work in a salon. I'm in my 20s. Everybody's coming to me for everything. If you ain't coming to Evie for a haircut and color, like you didn't have it. So I was very heavily sought out in my area. And so a young lady by the name of Gwen Ali came to me. No, her best friend worked with me. And they said they was hiring for Motions, which is Alberta Covert. And they need a hairstylist. And they were doing a hair show play. So you had to be a hairstylist. And it was a play. I was like, that's right up my alley. But I had just given birth like 4 weeks prior. So I was like, you had to go away for training. And I was like, I'm going to go. So my husband was like, go. This is what you want to do. You say you see yourself there. Just do it. So my mom at the time was staying with us, so she had the kids, so I was cool. And but at the same time, I was building this house I live in now. So we were building it from the ground up. It was our dream house, and I was like, I don't know, building this home, and I got to take this baby, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, let's just go. So I went, and actually, I got on stage and I froze. And when I tell you, the guy who mentored Ron Hamill, he was very, very, very military. That working for Motions was like the military. So he reprimanded me in front of everyone, and he was like, I cannot believe you froze on stage. And he just said all the foul words. And so I was like, okay, first of all, he embarrassed me. I'm never going to be embarrassed like that again. And I'm never going to freeze up again. And so from that point on, I was eager to want to be more on stage because I didn't want to make any mistakes. I wanted it to be right. And so from there, they hired me as an artistic director at age 23. So age 23, I'm an artistic director and I'm running everything. And so they put me through a lot of training. And so he asked me, I was doing all of the billboards, the ad campaigns and the magazines, Jad, Ebony, all of it. And so one day he came to me and he said, Evie, can I talk to you for a second? I said, yeah, sure. We did a photo shoot. He said, you know how much money I spent on this photo shoot? I was like, no. And he told me. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a lot of money. He said, of course. So what I want you to realize is the hair that you're doing right now is very regional. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, when I look at your work, I know exactly where you live. Where do you come from? I was like, what does that mean? He said, you use too much product. It looks oily. You look like you from Baltimore. I was like, oh, okay. So he said, when a person looks at your work, they should not know the color of your skin and they should not know where you're from. It should just be beautiful work. So let me ask you a question. What do you want to do? What do you want to specialize in, cut or color? I said, both. He said, no, you can only do one at a time. I said, okay, I'll do cutting. So they hired Tony and Guy, Pivot Point, and they made me train for 30 days at a
Wow.
hotel, facilitation, cutting. So they trained me. That's all I know is facilitation. All I knew is cutting, no color, just cutting, cutting,
Yeah.
cutting. So the work that you see that I do, that's why I look the way that it is, because they took me and they
Yeah.
just transformed everything. And that's why I don't put a lot of curls. I don't put a lot of styling. My stuff is very chic, very precise
Yeah.
because of how I
Yeah.
was trained. Yeah. And so from there, I knew when I stepped on stage, I felt good. I knew that I spoke to people in a very nice way because they would speak to people very demeaning. And so when I could see them speak, I would be like, I don't want to talk to people like that. I want to be different.
Good.
And so I said that whenever I had the opportunity to run an organization or be with a brand, I would speak to my people in that way. So, oddly enough, I work with a guy named David Muhammad, and he and I was the youngest people in the group, and they was like out with the old and with the new. So we were the two new people who they just trained like the military. Chris, it was insane.
Wow.
I was like I was a robot, but it was the best training I ever received.
Yeah, I was
It
going to
prepared me
say.
for my moment. It prepared me for this. And so we so eventually I left because I didn't feel it in my soul, my spirit, and it was a lot of stuff that was happening, and I didn't feel it. So and then I was having problems at home, family, kids are getting older. My husband's like, look, I didn't marry your mother. These are our kids. I need you home. And so I quit. I quit and I stayed home. Well, let me tell you something, Chris. That was the most emptiest I've ever felt in my life.
That was
It was the
most
most
what?
emptiest I've felt in my life because
Hmm.
that was where I needed to be. I'm part of a team. I like training
Yeah.
people. I love bringing the best out of people. And so it got to a point. It was so bad where Joe, that's my husband's name, he said, you know, it's a hair show coming in New York. You don't want to go? I was like, no. I was so sad. I was so sad. And so, you know, I'm like, no, I'm good. We about to open this restaurant up and I'm not worried about it. Let's just get this money and let's just raise our kids. And he was like, Evie, but you are not the same. And then finally he came to me and he said, I'm sorry. And he was like, I did something that I knew I shouldn't have done. I made you make a choice and you shouldn't have chosen. This is the life God has given you. And I can't get in the way
Yeah.
of that. He said, so whatever you do, and I hope you do it, I want you to get back out there and do what you do. And I will never complain or say anything about your travel ever again in life, as long as we're together. I said, okay, but I still didn't do it. So what happened was I opened a restaurant. David
You
Muhammad
opened a
calls me. He was like,
restaurant.
yeah, they're hiring at Mazzani. And we want you to come over. I was like, I don't have time for that. Because I built up a resentment as well because I had to
All right.
choose. So now I have a resentment. So I
Got
was
it.
like, no, I'm good. And so eventually, this is the God honest truth. So I'm in the car coming home from the restaurant. We're open 3 days. Now let me rewind. They gave me the opportunity to come. I said, well, let me see. So I turned the position down at Mazzani. And they said, well, we already paid for you to come to New York. Can you send someone else in your space? So I sent a friend of mine who worked at my salon. I said, hey, can you go? I need somebody to take my space. You can be a platform artist or whatever. So she was like, sure. So Rhonda went. I'm leaving the restaurant 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in my car. No clothes, no toothbrush, no nothing. And I find myself in New York. And I've been
Oh,
there ever since. I
So
drove that
same voice was talking to you again now. You gotta go to New York.
You gotta go. You gotta go. And so when I woke up that morning, I went to 7-Eleven, got a toothbrush and stuff so I can at least be presentable in that way. And I seen the existing Mazzani team. And this is the God honest truth. I sat back and I said, I'm about to take all their jobs. Just like that. And not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, I was trained like the military. So
Right.
what I was seeing with them was not what I was trained. I was like, they're not even holding their shears right. They're not holding their body right. They're not speaking. When people speak, they're not repeating the question. Not make sure you didn't thank the audience. You didn't do anything. So I sat back. So what happened was I had to shadow someone. Her name is Gayla Belay. She missed her flight here. The class was here because you're new artist. You gotta shadow. And so she missed her flight. So by the time she came to her class, she finally got that. I taught that whole class, Chris. I taught the whole class. And so we got there. It was 30 minutes left. And so she finally came to me. She says, who are you? Where'd you come from? Because I never say where I came from.
Oh,
I just
interesting.
Yeah. So she had told Veronique, who was running the brand at the time before Kate was, and she said that this girl is special. I don't know who she is, but she's special, and she has a training ability I've never seen before. And whatever we got to do. And next thing you know, we was at Baran Brothers hair show, and they would show it. Somebody got sick, and I was just there as an attendee. And they was like, put Evie on stage. She has on all black. I was like, give me the mic.
Yeah. Actress Evie came out again.
Yes. She out, Chris. And I was up there and I did my thing. We had the largest audience and we sold the most product. And from there, they never took me off the stage. And so that has been my journey. And from there, I worked for Mazzani for years, Chris, and I didn't even put no invoice in because I loved it.
What? Oh, say that again. Say that again.
I never put an invoice in for like 3 to 4 years because I was already making so much money doing what I was doing. I was like, it wasn't about money for me. I love what I did. Those ABF things came out. I was like, I'm not putting that stuff in. I ain't got time for that. Let me just get up here and do what I do because I loved it. So it took me a long time to do it.
Yeah. Wow. We share a common thread there. When I first started, I won't say the year, but let me put it this way. Mobile phones weren't even invented then, way before that. And I remember them asking me to do L'Oreal. I started with L'Oreal Professionnel in Canada. And I think I was the same thing. There was about 3 or 4 years. I never got paid. I didn't even know that you were supposed to submit. Mm-hmm. They didn't have ABFs for those people listening. It stands for Artist Booking Forms. But we didn't have any of that, so I didn't realize I was supposed to send stuff in. And it wasn't until I talked to the distributor, and he said, listen, let me get on the phone. And he said, listen, you had this kid working for you for 3 years, and he hasn't been paid. So I didn't even know you got paid. So interesting. Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah. I didn't care. I just wanted it. And so once I got with the brand, then Kate came. I started doing the PPD trainings, and one of the first ones I went to, you were the lead artist on that. And when I watched you, and
it was myself,
I believe
Sam, and
Johnny, the three of you.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And so at the time I was outgrowing Mazzani because I've done everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what else can I do? And so Kate was not the lead at the time. So she was at that training with us. It was Ammon and a whole bunch of us, Michelle O'Connor. It was a lot of us that was there, and I
Yep.
seen the
Yep.
eagerness. And those trainings changed my life. I repeat it. Those changed my life. And the reason why is because it was a different type of facilitation. It was one where it was more personal development versus it being so surface. And what I
Yeah.
learned was surface back. I didn't learn how to connect.
Yeah.
And so when I watched the three of you, I was like, they're friends. And but what I noticed, there was no women's presence. And I said, I'm going to be that woman that's going to do PPD trainings for facilitations for the brand. And so I
There you
envisioned
go.
myself there, and I put myself there. Anything I want to do, Chris, I envision myself there, and I put myself there.
I have no doubt in my mind. This episode is sponsored by the Salon Associate Accelerator from trainersplaybook.com. Are you struggling with the time and cost of associate training? Do you feel like your salon is running you? We'll get your associates on the floor, all with 90% less time from you, so you can get back to building your business. Get them world-class design, finishing, color, and client care skills they'll use every day for the rest of their career, while you focus on realizing your vision. Go to trainersplaybook.com and get the Salon Associate Accelerator. And now, back to the show. Because
Yeah.
because I was doing some research on you as well, and I went through there, and you're also a tricologist, a
I
certified
am.
tricologist. So how did that come about? So it was because that's everything that's on there is about about hair loss and alopecia, etc. So where did that come about? I mean, we've all seen
So in
it.
beauty school, I'm 17, falling asleep. Got to go back to stay after because I told you I went early, so I had to continue to just keep going until I graduated high school. And so I'm like the one that got like 2,500 hours versus 1,500 hours. In order
Wow.
to stay in high school, you had to stay in that program. So I'm working in a salon at 13. So the stuff that they was teaching me, I was like, I know that already. I know that. So I will always be asleep. So I'm sleeping. I heard this word trichology and it woke me up. It was like, what is this word? And they said it's the study of hair loss. And I said, well, what do you got to do? They said, you got to go back and go to college. I was like, oh, I'm not doing that because I already didn't like school anyway. And I was like, I got to go to school for acting. So I'm going to go to school for trichology too. Can't do it all. So I thought. And so eventually I started all the clients I'm doing, I'm starting to see their hair falling out. I'm like, why are these people hair falling out? And these people not stressed. They got money and they well off. So they're not stressed because I'm
Yep.
asking questions. And so I'm just starting to see a change in all these women and men. And so I wasn't getting the answers that I wanted. So I started to Google was not a thing. We had dial-up internet. So I couldn't find. So eventually I found out where I needed to get the training because no one wanted to share, Chris. Even to this day,
Oh,
nobody
really?
tells you about their training, where they get their stuff from. This is the most secret society I've ever been in my life. As far as the
I mean, with
organization, they don't tell you
trichology.
anything. They don't tell you how they trichology. Yes,
Yeah.
they don't tell you like how they can grow the hair, what remedies you use. They have their own product, and they'll tell you. Other than that, it's one of those things where everybody just keep their mouth shut. So you know me, I want to
Yeah. Yeah.
trade, so if I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna tell everybody about it. So eventually, I found the program out of New York. I think Joe asked me, "What do you want for Christmas?" I was like, "I want you to pay for this class." It was like $8,000, and he said, "Okay." So he paid for it, and that was the most difficult thing I ever had to do. It was a lot of
Really.
work, a lot of writing papers, and so I wanted to be. I didn't see a lot of black trichologists, and then I was like, I put myself here, Chris. I was like, I'm going to be the first one to do this. I'm going to be the first one to do that, and so I eventually got certified. I I think I was about 28, 29 when I got certified. And so now I am the, what do I do? So I am basically the face of IAT when it comes to the chairperson. So I
Yeah.
certify anybody that gets a certification in the US. I speak all over the country with it. And my special, I work with a lot of hospitals. So I currently have a hair loss restoration business where I do transplants. We do the hair transplants. So it grew
Wow.
from just doing the services, and then it grew into the transplant. And then I just got my certification for SMP, which is scalp micropigmentation, which is a scalp tattoo. So I just got that certification about 2 months ago. So I'll add that now
Wow.
to my business. But it's very lucrative. So what I wanted to do was, how do I merge hair and hair loss together? Because you got to remember, I'm making so much money doing hair. I didn't want to give that up. But I also knew what I was doing was not healthy on the hair
Right.
side. But I couldn't give it up. I was saying to myself, and so God was like, well, you got this gift, and if you don't use it, I'm going to take it from you. And I was
Yeah.
scared. I was like, well, I'm going to take care of my kids. I got my kids in private school. Got people in this big old house. I got people this. I got all these cars. I got all this. And it was very materialistic. And then, no. So God was like, you do this, because this is where you need to be. I promise you will make 4 times more than what you make now. And I
Wow.
was like, and as I said, it's never been about money, but I also was scared because I was moving to young family. So I did it. I was able to merge the two because I couldn't understand how to do both. So I merged the two. So now I work with John Hopkins. I work with all the hospitals.
Wow.
Help with a lot of cases in court when they have hair loss cases. So you're the matter, expert
Yeah. So you're in as the expert
person.
witness.
Yep. So everything I do is trichology, and so that's where my career is headed. More so, training trichology, not so much behind the chair.
And you've been. I mean, from what I saw, you were in Iceland, you were in Morocco, you've been in New Zealand, Australia, speaking for this.
Yeah,
That's pretty wild.
yeah. I leave for London in August, and then I'll be in Kenya next year. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Well, girl, I think you've already proven that I don't even think is that what you put your mind to. As soon as somebody says you can't have that, then you know you're going to have that right away. So
Oh,
I mean, I've
for
just
sure.
watched you grow, and it's been so amazing, and what you do, and I know that because as a NAHA finalist, and you've, I mean, I know that you have your bestie, Mr.
Jamal.
Mr. Edmonds, that you're always collaborating with, etc. So take us down the path now. You do hair. You're with Mazzani. You're with the IAT, which is the International Association of Trichologists, and you've got your own place that you're doing hair loss and restoration. Where do you find time to put together your collections for NAHA and etc.? Do you and him
Me?
collaborate on them? What do you do?
Yeah. Yeah. So last Wednesday we just met because we're going to shoot August 8th. And to be honest, Chris, I have no creativity juice right now. I
Oh,
don't have
really?
it. And I told him I don't have it in me, but I'm not going to shoot without him, and he's not going to shoot without me. I said I just have a brain fog. So when we
Yeah.
shoot, we meet, we talk about it. I'm logistics, so I handle all of the scheduling, and he'll give me his vision, and I'll tweak his vision. I'll give him my vision, he'll tweak my vision, and we shoot together. We assist one another. We are joined at the hip, and we always set out when. Well, first of all, when I first heard about NAHA, I was at the IBS show, and I seen it, and it was the awards, and I went, and I was like, why are people that look like me in this? And I was so confused. This was about maybe 18, 19 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I haven't even known him all then. I had not had met him yet. I've heard of him, but I just haven't met him. So I was like, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to be a finalist. I always seek to be a finalist. I didn't even want to win it. I just wanted to be a finalist. I just wanted to see my name up there. And I had, when he and I became friends, I had told him about it. And he was like, he was game. He was going to, let's do it. So he started to research it, and I gave him the information on it. And we said, whoever gets it, it's going to be both for both of us. It's not going to be for one. It's all for one. This is our part. We're laying it on the table. You win, I win. You win, I win, you win. However it works. If you're a finalist, I'm a finalist. We're claiming this team together. And so far, so good. I think right now, and I believe he has 6 finalists, maybe 7. And I have 2. And he has 1 that he won last year, protection. It was the most beautiful experience. The fact that I was able to present him with that award, I mean, even still just makes me tear up now, because it was just the most amazing experience. And it was a lot of hard work, and we saved a lot of our money to do these shoes. Like now, and I told him, I said, listen, friend, this is looking like 20,000, maybe 25. He was like, oh. I said, let's pull back, because I'm the one that's going to say that. Let's do this. Let's do that, because he wants to shoot 2 days. I was like, sir, I don't have 2 days in me. I have 1 day. Because, I mean, right now, to be honest, like I said, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss on how to navigate in that space. And I know that's more so your work is the holder, and you have someone else making a choice whether your stuff is good or not. I know my stuff is good, and I know it's definitely, finalist material, but at this point, I just don't know how to move in that space.
Right.
Because of, I have my discrepancies, like the rules. 1 minute the rules is this, and then they bend the rules. I'm like, how do I operate in this space if we can't even follow our own rules? And so I'm kind of stuck. That's why I'm like, I don't even know, but I'm not going to stop. I'm just at a loss.
Yeah. Well, you and I need to have a conversation privately then, and if you want to talk, I'll see if I can help get you unstuck.
Thank you. I need that, because I mean, you can't get anywhere by yourself. And right now I am seeking answers that I'm not able to get. And so I do need to talk to you. Seriously.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm getting in my, it's funny. And here's where I'm thinking of right now, because right up to now, and anybody listening to this would see you as a soloist, but yet I'm hearing you as this collaborator. And does that apply across the board, where it's more about the collaboration, or is it more at the NAHA level when you're competing with Jamal, or when you're not competing as a team with Jamal?
No, I'm always a collaborator. If the energy's good, if it's supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen. Yeah, I can do either or. You got to remember, I grew up in a house with 12 people. So you always got to collaborate. But I also know that over the years, I've also, because I've never was alone, I like to have my alone time. That's why it's important for me to be away on my birthday by myself. I like that time. I always travel by myself, because I'm always giving myself to people, and I need to just retract, pull back, and just have that time.
Now, I know that we both have a similar mentor in Blair Singer, and he talks about that when you do what we do, he calls it giving out your life force particles. People are pulling stuff out of you all the time, and you're constantly giving, and you're not getting back. And is that what you would say, what you do when you're on your own? Is that why it's so necessary for you to be alone?
Like I told you, that work that I've done, trying to figure out like my life, like who's Evie. Growing up in a house with 11 siblings, and you have to take care of them, and you have to make sure they eat. You got to make sure you got to look out for one another. And as long as I can remember, I've always had to look out for someone. And being a mom early at 13, you got to look out for someone. So I never really had the opportunity to just be me. So when I was able to afford for it to be me, meaning financially, and I think I was 18 when I went away by myself, I loved
Yeah.
it. I felt closer. I can hear my thoughts. I can, like, it rejuvenates me. That recharges me.
Mm-hmm.
It recharges me. And so I realized that early on at 18. I need this every year of my life. If not twice a year, once a year, twice a year. Now I'm getting to a point, Chris, it's 3, 4 times a year, But
Yeah.
I enjoy it. But in order for me to recharge, to give you all of me, I need that time by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that's what getting those life force particles back. That's where you get to
Yeah.
recharge. I think I know that other people call it sharpening the saw and things as such, but sometimes you just have to have some of that alone time. I mean, as much as my coach always makes, he for a couple of years said, you have to book off at least 2 weeks out of the year, at least twice a year. You got to promise me you're going to do it. And we did it for 2 years, and then that kind of went by the wayside. But so even now, my alone time is even, I cherish my time with Rita. And what I love about being married, and now for us, it's 53 years. I love getting up in the morning, and I usually get up early. I'm usually up anywhere between 5:30, sometimes 5. If I sleep in, it's 6:30. But I get up and I just make a cup of tea and watch TV, so I can just listen, not have to give out any thoughts, but just to be. And I like to do that at least till 9 o'clock, so that my head's clear. I've got some alone time. And I find that's the way. We just went on a houseboat and went out with Lee and Suze and Rita and I, and it was just to be able to sit alone and just read a book. And I'm so proud of myself. I actually read a novel, a fictional novel.
What'd you
It
read?
wasn't work related. It was called 22 Seconds. It was called 22 Seconds by, I can't remember the author's name, but it was a really good read. And it got me back into dealing with fiction because I can escape then. So I just found that really good. But to be up to the point about whether I can be alone in a room, I can be alone in a room with people if I'm reading. And to me, that just really is, that kind of made my day. And I love that. So I understand when you say going alone and being on your own, etc.
Yeah. It's important that I have that time. And I know that's how I'm wired. And my family knows it. Thank God my husband knows it, because he did keep his promise. He is not complaining about my travel.
Yeah. Well, I would tell you, we've got to make sure that Joe and Rita don't meet, because we both have people in our lives that have let us do what we needed to do. So anyway, I want to celebrate Joe for letting the industry have you with us. So I'm going to jump on just in a minute here. We've got to do this again because I've got so many other questions I wanted to ask you. But I want to talk to you. Was there, like, do you have along the way? Do you have, like, first of all, what pushes you? I hear the drive that you have. I hear that from whatever happened to you along the way, you say, this is what I want, and I'm going to have it regardless. And you push yourself. But what is it that pushes you? What is it that gives you that drive so you do what you do?
I love people, Chris.
Yeah.
I love love. I love growth. I love seeing people excel. I love bringing people to their own discovery. When I say I love people, I love them. I really, really do. Like that drives me. It really does. I love just love. Like even like my team that works with me, my staff, and like it gets to a point sometimes where I just love them so much. It just gives me goosebumps. I love amazing people. I like to treat people nice. I don't like to mistreat. That's when you said I don't like to see anyone be mistreated. But what drives me really is just love. Yeah.
It's. I heard you say a little bit of this earlier when you were talking about seeing other artists and that they came from a different place. And even you talk about trichology, how they didn't want to share. And it's interesting that people either come from a place of scarcity or they come from a place of abundance, and then there's enough for everybody. And I think that our industry needs more people like you that is just willing to give, recharge, yes, but to give without expecting stuff in return, and
Yeah.
and I think that's what people love about you is that you're just Evie and you give and you give, and I see that in you all the time. That I think it's just so important to be authentic when you're on stage and to be able to just give people what they need and not worry about if it's going to come back to you. I think if
Yeah,
you
I don't
just
worry
give,
about that.
yeah,
I know I'm good. I know I'm loved.
yeah,
I know I'm covered. And I'm always put in a position with the best people who encourage me, who supports me. I'm able to look at people like yourself and be inspired without being in your face. I can just see
hmm
it. And when I see you helping, that helps me recharge to help others. You know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah,
a domino effect. So you don't have to be
yeah,
with that person. Like you said, we really get the opportunity to be together, but I don't have to be with you to learn from you.
yeah,
I don't have to be
yeah,
around you for you to be someone that I look up to. All I can do is see your heart. If I
right,
see your heart, we good.
yeah.
And it
I
motivates
think
me.
you mentioned earlier about energy, and I think that if our world right now, and I mean, I think that's what's so great about our industry is I think we're sort of healing agents at the same time,
Yeah.
because for the better part of our industry, I find most people are kind. They want to help. They want people to grow. They want people to be better at what they do. And I just wish that, I think the rest of the world needs to take a little closer look at our industry and what we do and adapt a little bit of that as well so that everybody can be and have come from a place of abundance. So I'm going to I've got one more question I'm going to do at the end, but very quickly I want to do a rapid fire round with you. And this is just, I'll run them out. You first thing that comes to your head. And this might be interesting for you based on a conversation we're going to have eventually. What turns you on in the creative process?
Nature.
Interesting. What stifles the creative process?
Chaos.
An event or a show that you love doing, the one that I know there's many, but the one that comes to your brain, first one.
An event that I love doing.
Yeah.
PPD trainings.
I think I was going to say why, but I think that's pretty much right there when you said it's about training, passing on. A thing in life that you dislike the most.
People being mistreated.
And the thing that you love the most.
Love.
Proudest moment of your life.
My son.
Absolutely. Thing that you dislike most about our industry.
I would not. I don't want to say. What's the word that I'm looking for? I hate that we don't have equal opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's change that. Person that you admire the most.
The person. My mom.
A person that you wish you could meet.
It used to be um, Oprah. It used to be her, but I won't. I would not say her anymore. So I don't know right now. But if I had to meet someone fun, it would be Janet Jackson.
Oh yeah, there you go. Something that people don't know about you.
Um, let's see. What do people not know about me? Oh, that I like to race cars.
You like to race cars. I saw a picture of you in a Porsche. That so
That's what I do on my
you
fun
know how
time.
to yeah you know how to find the line in your corners then, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I
Okay,
love
so
racing cars. And
yeah,
I love gun
and
range.
if you and a gun range.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I gotta come out and watch the a month off. A month off. Where would you go? What would you do?
All right, so here we go. A month off. I'm going to Antarctica. I'm going to Maldives. I'm going to the Maldives. I'm going to Tokyo, and I'm going to go back to Fiji.
Wow, you're a traveling kind of girl. Thing that a thing that terrifies, or a thing that you're terrified of.
Being broke.
Get in line, girl.
But you know what? For me, it is being broke, but it's retirement. Like I have the worst fear of not retiring the right way. Because me being a
Yeah,
hairstylist and yourself, yeah, retirement. Like
yeah,
that makes because I don't want to be broke.
yeah. And for me, it's. I mean, I watched my mom, who didn't have much money, but she was the happiest person that I knew when after she retired. But what terrifies me is that my brain is always going, and I won't know how to channel it. I've either got to be making something, doing something, writing something. My wife would just love it if I would, but I can't. Now I know you don't curse, but if you had a favorite, what's a word that you do when if you've got something comes up and you just got to express it? What do you say? What's the word
It's
you use?
SHIT.
SHIT. Okay, you don't even say that word. You just got to spell it out. It would be
Yeah.
so much faster just to say the word.
Or sometimes you just go shh.
And then you fill in the blanks. I'm expressing what I'm picturing right now is out of your mouth, you're saying shh, and you're getting that S and the exclamation mark, $sign, and so on coming
Yeah,
out
but
of
they
there.
clap with it. No, you got the shh.
Your favorite comfort food?
I'm a cake girl. I love cake.
Oh,
Love the
carrot
sweets.
cake? That's
Not
carrot
carrot
cake is
cake.
meat.
I'm more of a strawberry
Oh, I thought you
cake
said
girl.
carrot cake. So
I like any cake, but right now it's
yeah.
more so like gluten free, vegan type cakes. But I love cake.
What flavor?
Strawberry.
Strawberry. That's for me. Ice cream for me. Strawberry ice cream.
I can't eat ice cream.
Oh no, sorry. It's gluten vegan ice cream. Something in the industry you haven't done but you want to.
I would say lead a symposium, and it
Ooh,
be my ideas and not a brand's. Lead a symposium.
nice. Love it. One do-over, or something you would, if you could do something over in your life, what would it be?
Honestly, a different wedding anniversary.
Ah, uh-huh. Well, I'm staying
Yeah,
all out of that one. If you give me
yeah.
Joe's
That
number, he and I'll have a talk.
listen, that 28th and 29th, those 2 days, that day apart, I would have never done that.
Oh, that's like, see, to me, that's like, I'm born on the December 26th. So for me, it's Christmas and then my birthday. So
Yeah, so you would change your birthday.
So you're not saying that you want the anniversary to change. You just say you want the date to change so that they're not coinciding. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
That's
do it a month
that's
later.
me. When you're born
I
on,
would do it maybe July 29th. Not
yeah.
maybe
Well, listen,
20.
you can do anything you want to. Just say the word.
Well,
That's the
we just
dates
said
we're
we was
having.
going to change it. He's been asking me a new date. I was like, I don't know if I want a new date. I'm over it now.
Well, do you see now? You just said you want a new date, so it's going to be what date in July is it going to be?
It'll be July 29th.
July 29th. See, now you got a do-over. You got a do-over, and you got to double up this year. Okay? Just tell them diamonds.
Okay.
You love diamonds.
I'm going to tell him. Peep there.
Okay, good. Tomorrow, this one I'm anxious to hear what you'd say. Tomorrow, you can't do anything with hair or anything related to hair. What would you do?
Can I still train? Because I love facilitating.
Nope, nothing to do with the industry.
It don't have to be. It could be personal development, bringing the best.
There you go.
People.
Love it. Okay, last question. If you had one wish for our industry, what would that be and why?
The one wish I would have would be to draw that line that I see, bring it together, that we all are one, everyone is recognized as one, and then there's it's not that great area where it's like privileged or everybody has equal opportunity. I would bring everyone together because you have really talented people all over the world. And sometimes people discourage because they don't speak the language or whatever that is. Mm-hmm. I would definitely bring everyone together and train. But what I would love to do is you bring like artists like yourself, me, whomever, who's very much on the spotlight, and you have other artists that are not in the spotlight come together and teach each other, share each other tricks, and and learn from us, and we learn from them.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Well, I love that too. Let's make that happen.
Yeah. Listen,
Evie, I just want to say it's an honor that has been to have you on here. I always admire you and your work, and I think is your ethic that you have is just phenomenal. And I want to thank you so much for giving up your time and your energy to be on the show. And even more importantly, just thank you for letting the audience hear that you got dealt a head of hands and you played it so that you are where you are today. And I congratulate you on that. I want to thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I thank you for having me. And I wasn't sure of what, of course, we were going to talk about or whatever, but I'm comfortable with you. And I must say that today, it's life changing because I've never even shared some stories. And so you're able to, today, your viewers and yourself are able to get more of an authentic version of Evie, of my why and why I do what I do. Like people see me as like, okay, she's cool, but she really don't understand my why. And so people's like, you should write a book because it's so much more. Everybody has a story. But definitely today, share more than what I thought I would share. And I feel like I share my most intimate moments when you are around. So I think we are connected in some kind of way.
There we are. You see it. It's our Cancer and Capricorn vibe we got going on. I don't know anything about Australia, but I just even called it Australia, about astrology. But listen, thank you. And I want you to know, first of all, as I said before, that phone call is open for you anytime. Okay?
Yes,
in the meantime,
I'm going to get on your calendar
so much.
I definitely need it.
Okay. In the meantime, all the best to you, love.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.